Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome once again to the Bourse Report. What else can we speak about today than Brexit, the exit of Britain from the European Union? And what are the implications for investment, international investment as a whole, and for us as investors from Trinidad and Tobago in this international or in these international markets? Well, the Brexit really is an exit of Britain from the EU, which will take place once a particular article is invoked. That article is expected to be invoked or announced today. And once that happens, there is a period of 2 years after which or during which Britain will exit. The terms and conditions and other factors will be determined as to the exit of Britain from the UK. I'm not here to speak about the merits or demerits of the vote, but rather to speak about implications of the vote. And the implications, we can look at 3 areas in this time. 1 is currency, 2 is the implication on the international equity markets, and 3 would be the implication for international bond markets. As investors, you do have some exposure internationally, whether as an institution, when it would be significant, or whether as an individual or what people like to call a small investor, if you have your investment in mutual funds, whether it be in India, whether it be in Brazil, whether it be internationally or globally, you would feel an impact. So let's go now to the first graph, which speaks to the question, the impact on major currencies as it ended on Friday at the close of the markets in New York. And what you would see is that the impact was most significant on the pound. And the pound sterling fell some 8% by the close of the day, but had fallen about 11% intraday. And this means that it is the low of the pound for a period of just over 31 years. There are investors and there are persons in the Caribbean who still have British-based pension based on the pound. And they would be poorer for it because of the conversion of the pound and the exchange rate, which has now fallen to $1.36, as I say, at the close of business New York on Friday. The markets are roiled in Europe, and markets continue to be roiled all across the world. So that's the impact with regard to currency. Investors have moved to other currencies, flight to other currencies. The US has gained, the yen has gained as well in terms of major international currencies. Let's now take a look at the impact in terms of equity markets. And as you would see on the next graph, what has happened in the equity markets is that Europe, at the end of Friday's play, and the markets are open now, at the end of Friday's play, the markets were down negative 8.6%. And this impacted much of the rest of the world, whether it be the emerging markets 6% down, Latin America 5.6%, the world generally, Japan 4.8%, and the US 3.6%. So if you are an investor in the equity space internationally, expect some significant volatility in market, and the downside continues in terms of pressure on those markets. As far as bonds are concerned, international bonds, the markets held up reasonably well as there was a flight to quality into US Treasuries, so that what happened is that yields actually came down because prices went up. What does it mean for you as an international bond investor? Essentially, if you have a buy and hold strategy, credit conditions remaining fairly constant, then you would have volatility in terms of the prices. But on a buy and hold strategy, which has been one of our plays and themes for the past year and a half, given the conditions of the market, in that context, you can expect to receive your coupon, and once the credit conditions hold, you can expect to receive your principal payment. at the end of the period. So these are the three factors that we have looked at. The currency, UK currency has fallen. The equity markets, they have also fallen. And the bond markets have held up reasonably well given the current conditions as investors move to that area. Good opportunities may arise for good entry points into the markets, but it's early days yet and the markets are pretty much challenged. Look for us in the newspapers where we provide more details about this, as well as our website which will provide much more detail, bourseinvestment.com. Have yourself a wonderful investment week. This is Subhash Ram Kilawan for the Bourse Report.